On page 49, we're looking at some measurement problems. And here's number 1. Alexander measures his coffee table in feet and in inches. Which statement is true about the measurements? Well, the first thing I want to remember is my conversion. That 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So if you measure something in inches, it's going to be more than the feet for the same amount of space. So inches, there would be more inches than feet. It takes fewer inches than feet to measure the coffee table. No, this is not true. It takes more inches than feet. So this is not true. It takes more feet than inches. No, it takes fewer feet than inches. Not true. It takes the same number of inches. That is not true, because we can see in our conversion that there are more inches than feet. It takes more inches. That's what I'm looking for. That's the one that we want. I hate these kind of questions. They mess with my mind, but they're part of math. What is the length of the base of the flower box in feet and in inches? And it's hard to see this, so let me draw a line in here. Here's the base of the flower box. Let me make it a little bit bigger, and let's do it in red. So here's the base, and you can see that there is a line right here. So that represents a foot, and here's a foot. So we know that we've got 2 feet. We can eliminate B. Question is, what is that equivalent in inches? Well, this would be 12, and this would be 12. So that would be 24 total inches. So I like C as in Charlie. The amusement park ride requires that riders must be at least 60 inches tall. How many feet tall must you be to go on the ride? Well, if you have to be 60 inches tall, and I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot, you could, if you know to divide by 12, just do that. If not, you can set up a proportion, and that will tell you to divide by 12. And that would be 5 feet. So 5 feet are equivalent to 60 inches. Which of the following measurements could be the width of the same kitchen table? So this is saying that 4 feet equals 4 inches. That's not true. 4 feet equals 48 inches. 7 feet equals 7 times 12, that's 84 inches. 4 feet equals 4 times 12, that's 48 inches. That's the answer. 24 feet does not equal 2 inches. I won't take the time to multiply that one, but I know that can't be true. So C as in Charlie is your answer there. Actually, I did it. I did 24 feet. I did it in my notes. Is 288 inches. I just happened to look down and see that on my notes that I had done it already. So, all right. Don't know what happened there. That's been happening a lot with my iPad, but hopefully you can see this now. Andrew and Whitney both measure the height of the same basketball net. Andrew says the net is 10 feet from the ground. Whitney says the net is 10 inches from the ground. Which statement is true about the measurements? Well, again, I know that 1 foot is 12 inches. And I'm concerned about Whitney's answer because 10 inches is less than a foot. Unless the basketball goal is for very, very tiny people, that is not reasonable. So I suspect that Whitney is not right. They are both correct because they measured the same goal. The measurements should be the same. Well, they're not both correct because there's no way that 10 feet and 10 inches are the same. One of them is wrong. I'll go with that because the goal should be fewer feet than inches. I like that one. There would be more inches to cover that distance than there would be if you measured it in feet. So I think it's B, but let's read it all. They are both correct? No. Because feet and inches are equal units of measurement. That is not true. We can eliminate that one. One of them is wrong. I will go with that because the goal should be fewer inches than feet. No, it should be more inches than feet. So the answer is indeed B, as in Bravo. You would need more inches to express that amount. Robin records the measurements of 2 rugs in the table below. What is the measurement of the small rug in inches? Well, if it's 5 feet long, that would be 5 feet. And we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. So if we multiply those two, we would be 60 divided by 1. That's 60 inches. If you knew to just multiply by 12, you don't need to set up that proportion. That's just if you're not sure how to do it. A window is 3 feet high and 6 feet long. So it's something like that. Not quite. It's definitely a rectangle, but my rectangle was pitiful. So we know that it's 6 feet, and we know that it's 3 feet high. And they want us to express that in terms of inches. So 3 times 12 would be 36 inches. 6 times 12 is 72 inches. So I'm looking for an answer that has these. 72 and 36. And so I like C as in Charlie.